All right, guys, this week we're going to be talking about something a little new. It is being based off of what we've already learned. We are still going to talk about angles, except now we're going to talk about measuring angles. In order to measure angles, we need to use this tool called a protractor. And we need to remember some key terms. This will help out using a protractor if you understand what an angle is and its definition. For instance, the term acute. That is an angle less than 90 degrees, right? And it kind of sorts like that. Because remember, the angle is small, so cute, remember? And then we have obtuse, which is greater than 90 degrees. Okay? And that sort of looks like this, like a mouth wide open here. It's great big. And of course, we have our right angle, which is 90 degrees. And it's two straight lines just like that. So this is stuff you should already know, but it will come in handy when using the protractor, because when you look at the protractor, if you look, it starts 0 and 180, 0 and 180. So depending on which way the angle is going, is going to depend on the measurement. But if you see an angle that looks like this, you should already know that that angle should be more than 90 degrees. So if you measure this angle and it looks like it says 45 degrees, you should automatically recognize, hey, that's not right, because this is an obtuse angle. So let's take a look at an example of some angles. I already have some drawn out. I got 3 examples here. So the first angle is called a what? That's right. This is an acute angle. I'm going to write acute under there. Might not be a bad idea if you have paper to kind of jot these notes down and kind of keep them to the side, because it will come handy. Okay, now in order to use my protractor, there's also another thing I have to know called the vertex. The vertex is where the 2 angles meet. So the vertex would be right here. Have to know where the vertex is. And first of all, you want to make sure, like on these clear ones, you want to make sure it's not backwards like that when you lay it down. You want to look at it first so you can read the numbers. So, and you'll notice every protractor, let it focus, there we go. See that hole right there? That's where you put your vertex. So I'm going to find this acute angle, put the vertex in that hole. Now, this bottom line, you'll look, is lined up and it goes all the way to 0. Now, here comes the tricky part where it'll confuse most of you. When we come up here, this is where we're going to find the angle of, or the measurement of this angle. So let's look. So I come up to here. This line, as you can see, it goes through 2 numbers. It goes through, we're going to estimate just a little bit. It goes through 40 and 140. Huh. So which one do I choose? Well, in this case, I know this angle is acute, right? So if it's acute, it could not, by definition, be 140 degrees. So when the angle is going this way and it's acute, you look at the first number here. So this angle is about 40 degrees. Remember, it's acute, so it has to be less than 90, and it goes. You got your vertex lined up in the hole, and it's lined up with 0 here. And it goes through about 40. So this angle is about 40 degrees. We're going to call it 40. I know that is right because it looks like an acute angle, and that measurement makes sense because it's less than 90 degrees. So let's move over to this next angle. By just looking at it, we have a good idea what this angle might be. So once again, making sure I got the right side up, and I'm going to find my vertex. My vertex, remember, is this right here. That's where they meet. That's where I want to put this little hole on my protractor. See, the bottom line lines up with the 0 going that way, and it goes straight up through the 90 degrees. Now with 90 degrees, it's either way. 90 degrees is 90 degrees. There only has one number, so that one's pretty easy to locate. So I know this angle measured 90 degrees. And by definition, if it measures 90 degrees, what type of angle do we have? That's right. That's right. You get it? Right. Okay, I have another angle down here. Now, I'm looking at this angle. I already kind of know what kind of angle I'm dealing with here. This is wide open, so it's going to be obtuse. So that already gives me some information that I know about this angle. If it is obtuse, that means it's going to be greater than 90 degrees. So I'm going to locate my vertex right here. And I'm going to take my protractor again, find that hole, and put it right on the vertex, just like that. Where that bottom line is lying straight on that straight line down there. That's going through 0 and 180. Just like that. Now I'm going to find this other line because it's going to give me the measure. And of course, I'm just right now going to go do a estimate. Well, this looks like it has a pretty good idea. So now this one is going through two numbers. I see it's on the line marked between 140 and 130. Now be mindful of which way the numbers are going. See, the inside here starts from 0 and goes 10, 20, 30, 40. It's counting this way. So it's counting down when you look at it this way. It's counting up when you go this way. So be sure you can be mindful of which way the numbers are going. So on the top row, it's going up, and on the bottom row, it's going down. So I see a line between 130 and 140. So I automatically know, okay, halfway between 130 and 140 is going to be 135. So the bottom row is showing me 135 degrees. And I look at the top row, it's between 40 and 50. So that's showing me 45 degrees. So it's either going to be 135 or 45 degrees. What do you think this is? Speaking that we're dealing with an obtuse angle. Can an obtuse angle be 35 degrees? No, it cannot. So remember, we're dealing with the bigger number here. So right between 130 and 140, that's going to be 135. So I have a 135 degree obtuse angle. I know that's going to be right because obtuse is going to be bigger than 90. Just like acute is going to be less than 90. And right is going to be 90 on the dot. So here I got two more angles. They're both acute, but I noticed something about these. They're facing the different ways. So how does a protractor work when they're facing different ways? Well, it works the exact same way. As long as you locate that vertex right there where two angles or two lines meet. The angle is formed, that is the vertex. You put it down. Make sure that line is going straight. Line up. See, there's a straight line. Down there, let it try to focus. There it goes. You want it lined up like that. So now, this is similar to that last one I just did. So, it's measuring in the same spot as this one. So why would this one still be 135? No, it wouldn't, because this is an acute angle. So because this angle is facing a different way, that's why it's going through the same way. Because remember, on the previous one, right here, the angle is going, the bottom line is going this way. And on this one, it is going the other way. So this is why it's important to know the difference between obtuse and acute, because it can get your angles confused. So I just line it up with my vertex, the hole on the vertex, and I come see where it's at. It's at two different measurements, 135 and 45. Well, can this angle be 135 degrees? No, it cannot, because it is an acute angle. So it has to be less than 90 degrees. So when I come back and look, so which one of these numbers is less than 90? It's going to be 45. So this angle is 45 degrees. So now let's come over here to this angle. It looks pretty similar. I'm going to find my vertex. Line that hole up on the vertex. Make sure that bottom line is going straight through there. Now I'm going to look at here. It's going through two numbers. It is going through 40 and 140. Now, by rule, I know this angle is acute. So, if it's acute, there is no way that that angle can be 140 degrees. It has to be less than 90. So, I go with less than 90. So, that goes through the 4. Or the 40, so that angle would be 40 degrees. Okay, now let's look at one more angle. So what if you have an angle that's like this? See, on all these other angles I showed you, those bottom lines were already flat facing one direction. This one doesn't. Well, there's multiple ways to solve this, but ultimately, you can just line your protractor up with it at an angle. So I'm going to find my vertex right there. And see, my protractor, let me get it on the right side, is like this now. That's okay because it's lined up just like that. And I come over here. And now if I tilt it this way, I can tell something. That's an acute angle, because it is less than 90 degrees. So I look at my measurements. I have one it's pretty close to 90, but it's not quite 90. It's either 85 or 95. That's pretty close. But remember, 95 is bigger than 90, so that would make it obtuse. This angle is less than 90 degrees, so it's acute, which makes this one, we go with the lower number on the 85. So 85 degrees. So, now, there's another way to measure this that's a little bit more complicated. If you want, you still line up your vertex here. And you get, I said this was 85. So, you look through the two lines. And it would measure 130 there. I'm sorry, it'd measure about 125 there and 40 there. And what you would do is you would subtract that 125 minus the 40. And over here, see, 5 minus 0 is 5. More on the 4 go next door, and then turn that into a 12 and then into 0. So 12 minus 4 is 8, and I get 85 degrees. So that's a little bit more complicated way to do it. If it's at a different, if for some reason you can't line it up like this and just measure it like that, if you measure it like this, you subtract the two measurements, the 135 and the or 125 and the 140, and it'll give you the measurement. But like I said, that's more work for you. So I recommend just placing the protractor as it needs to be placed. So this week we are going to practice it. You do have a protractor in your box. If you want to just draw some angles, practice on it, that's fine. I'm going to also include a couple videos to help explain it to you, so you'll have multiple ways of hearing it. And if you're struggling with this, get hold of me. I will help you out. It's a matter of getting used to the numbers or just using the protractor. Like I said, the key thing is knowing your angles. Knowing what an acute angle looks like, an obtuse angle looks like, and a right angle looks like. If you got those down, measuring angles is going to come pretty easy to you. What I'd recommend, making some notes. Have them to the side. Have acute, less than 90, and have a little example of it. Have obtuse, greater than 90, and an example. Have right, 90 degrees, and have an example. So you can reference that. So when you're measuring, if you're not quite sure, you can look like, okay, this angle definitely looks like it's acute. So, all right, that's what we're going to work on for the week. We're getting close to finishing new content, and then we're going to start tying some of the things we've learned throughout the year together. So, all right, guys, just give me your best and keep working hard. And again, if you need help with this, just ask. All right, bye, guys.